Okay, my friends, here it is, the long-awaited video on the total garden renovation. So in this video, you're gonna see how I did it so that you can then get tons of good ideas about how you can do it, because it is early spring and it is about that time to start the garden renovation projects. So we're gonna get right into it. I'm gonna take you out and show you from start to finish. Now, as you watch this, I wanna know from you a couple things. Leave them in the comments. I wanna know, 1, how would you have done things differently? 2, I wanna know, do you see any potential issues arising from this setup? Let me know in the comments. Okay, my friends, so here we are at the tail end of last season. Now you can see that the boards have become dilapidated. Now these are 3 to 4 years old. This is stuff that I was making out of pallets. Now all this kind of stuff works if your limiting factor is money, because all this stuff was virtually free. And it works, it's good. But at this point, you know, the logs I brought out of the woods by my mom's house is just becoming kind of dilapidated. They're all starting to rot and stuff. They're home for slugs and stuff like that. And after 5 years of no-till, we've still got this Indiana clay soil that, listen. Yes, and so as you can see here, the whole garden just kind of needs a revamp, a freshener, because the aisleways are getting blurred. The stuff's still growing really well, no doubt, but we're like losing real estate because you see we still got these beautiful Brunswick cabbages, we still got these real nice mammoth red rock cabbages, but everything is just becoming sort of not useful anymore. We have to make sure that we are going to maximize this real estate. Obviously, the tomatoes are dead. We've already had our frost. And this whole J-Dom area back here is just looking kind of trashy. You know, it just needs to get a facelift, the whole thing. But I want to be very clear. It still grows wonderfully because we've been focusing on the soil. Absolutely. You see, we've still got these Nagasaki cabbages, which are delicious for fermenting. We're going to be using those. We've still got these Cylindra beets in the ground. We've still got all kinds of them. But the issue is that we're just we need to maximize this real estate, okay? So after all these years of no-till, we still produce healthy stuff, but the soil just needs a facelift. I can just tell, you know, and the pathways, you see these Brussels sprouts are still thriving, so we're still producing wonderful stuff, no doubt. I want to be clear about that, but it is just time because we can't utilize a drip irrigation with this bed setup techniques, and we're losing a lot of real estate with the pathways are becoming blurred. They keep going further out, and there's no defined boundaries. So here is what we're gonna do. Step 1, tear out the old garden. Okay, so step 1 is we are going to utilize as much of this green material as possible. And so we're going to pull out these celeries, the Utah tall celery here, which is a wonderful variety that we're not actually growing again this year. But we're going to pull it out. We're going to leave that soil there in the actual garden. But we're going to take the green matter, which is going to be nice and high in nitrogen, and we're going to layer that into these collapsible compost bins. I like these bins for hot compost. Maybe I'll put a link in the description, but they have worked really well as far as making some good hot compost. So we're going to layer that stuff in there. We're going to, I like straw because it's available and it's cheap in Indiana, and you don't have to worry about Grazon being sprayed on it and stuff. So we are going to layer this stuff in there real good, and we're going to hot compost literally the whole garden. So there's going to be the Brussels sprouts here. Here's one of the red Brussels sprout plants, and we're going to chop it up though, because if I just put that whole plant in there, that's going to really bog down the whole system. So we're going to take this here machete and we're going to chop it up real fine, or moderately fine. And then we're going to layer in some more of the browns. You could use you could use grass clippings or leaves or whatever it is that you have. Now, if you've got big stuff like this, you can have Viking Girlfriend run it through a wood chipper that we found on Facebook Marketplace for like $150, and it's a John Deere. It was actually a steal. So we're going to take things like calendula, which is almost invasive. It grows so good here, and it's got all kinds of good essential oils on it and nutrients in it, and so we're going to put that as a layer for our compost. Now remember, all the stuff that you're growing, like this Swiss chard, which is beautiful deep crimson red, the goldfinches love the Swiss chard, all that stuff is going to become food once again as we cycle it through the soil food web. Next step is we're going to do the unthinkable. We're going to till the soil. Guys, I have absolutely no problem doing this. It's been 5 years, and we're using our Troy-built horse tiller from 1978. Shout out to Viking Uncle for getting it running again. Thank you. And this thing is a beast. It's fantastic. And so I have no worries about the soil. The soil is so incredibly resilient. Once you've built it up to the point where it's bursting with life, this stuff's going to recover in no time. And we're only doing it once. So you will see. Now, one thing that we're going to take the opportunity to do is we are going to use this time to get rid of all of the JDOM, little buckets of ferments that we have all over the place. This is a chitin one from a huge crab boil that we had several years ago. It's all really good. It just, that putrid stench of death, guys, I'm just over it. You know, I'm just over having that around. So you will see here, here's how we're going to utilize our JDOM inputs as a type of soil amendment. So we've done 2 or 3 passes, maybe even 4 or 5 passes with the tiller. And now we're going to put all of our JDOM stuff. We're just going to dump that right onto the soil. Now, everything that we put into the garden is going to be organic. And so all of the organic material, all that stuff, you want to hot compost all of it. Scrape it up, make sure all the mulch, the leftover wood chips, all that kind of stuff from the years of designing the garden, how we had it. We're hot composting all that stuff. This is going to all become food again. Now, another thing that's going to be really important is to take this opportunity to clean up all of the old potting soil things. So here is several years worth. We probably had 1,000 gallons of potting soil that we had made utilizing that recipe from my video a couple weeks ago. But we're not going to do pots like that anymore. So we're going to take all of that, which is peat moss, perlite, and worm castings, and dump it into the garden as it's going to help amend everything. And so here we are at this point, and we are both sides have been tilled up, and we are getting rid of all the buckets of putrid stench of death smelling stuff, which are actually perfectly good plant available nutrients. So I want to be very clear. This is the everything fertilizer. I know a lot of you guys subscribe to the channel from that video. That stuff still works perfectly fine. It's not a problem. I'm not dissonant in any way. It's just in this setting, in this urban setting, that putrid stench of death, yeah, Viking Uncle doesn't like it either. That's not going to work for us, okay? Because I need my garden to be a pleasant sensory experience. And as you can see here, this just smells, looks and smells like pure sewage. And that's just not acceptable anymore. So we're going a different route.
Not only does it look disgusting, it's got that putrid stench of death.
Very good.
So we're going to stick with the more pleasant things like the compost teas.
This one actually is pure chicken manure, but don't tell her. All right, so we have all of the stuff cleaned up. All the stuff is in there. We've gone over the garden probably 5 times, 6 times in total. Everything is incorporated. That soil is just beautiful, bursting with life. It's going to recover from tillage in no time flat. So we are not concerned. Now, take a good look at where we're at now. Take a good look at where we came from just a month ago, and you will see how far we've come. Now, but we still got a long way to go. So here is the blank slate. On to the next step, which is installing the new garden. Okay, so we are going to take this opportunity to measure everything out. That is the next step. You want to make sure that you are maximizing the use of space. And to do that, you need to measure things out. All right. And so we're going to put, we're going to use string lines, and then we're going to plan out the garden. Before anything is built, we're going to plan out the garden design. Once it is designed, then we're going to make simple beds. This is untreated pine, and they are 2x10s, and the construction is very simple. It's just 3 screws on each joint, and we just butted the boards up against the other ones, and we're going to carry them in there, and then we're just going to lay them on the soil surface like this. There's no need for any real big staking down or anything like that. You will see the technique here. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, how are you going to fill all that soil? And you're going to waste all that good soil you spent years building. No, you will see the technique, which is actually going to make the beds very resilient, because we're in northern Indiana, and we can have monsoons or we can have total droughts. So we need to prepare for both. But take the time now at this point in the construction process to measure everything and make it so that you've got a maximum usage of space. And so just shuffle them down into the soil a little bit. So you can see here, if you do it right, then you're going to, it feels like the real estate has doubled now because everything is well defined. The pathways are well defined. Everything is kind of straight because you got your lines on there. We're not just making a bunch of hodgepodge, breakneck season kind of things, like out of pieces of pallets and stuff. All that's totally fine, and I did it that way for years, but I was ready for an upgrade. I was ready to do it this way so that we can, you will see that now that we've got uniform beds and uniform aisleways, it enables us to do really cool things, which you will see later in the year as far as season prep and stuff. So to make them level, everything's nice and fluffy. So we just have Viking Uncle stomp on top of some of the beds, make sure that everything is nice and level. Then we have Viking Girlfriend begin to shovel some of the stuff into the beds. This is the key, guys. You want to, yes, it is laborious, but you're only doing it once. And so you want to go in there and you want to shovel from the aisleways into the beds. This is how we fill the beds. And you go down until you hit the area that the tiller didn't reach. And it's, of course, rock solid clay under that, because that's just how Indiana is. But the top 8 inches is wonderful, soft, fluffy garden soil. And so that is how we fill the beds. I did not bring in one drop of additional soil in these things. And every one of these beds are full, and we're going to rake it out clean. And here we're going to actually plant that garlic today because it is the fall time. We're about to get a snow here in just a few days. So we want to rake it out real nice, and you can see that the beds are mostly full just from the soil coming from the aisleway. Now, let me know if you want to see a video on what I'm going to do with the aisleways. I'm not going to cover that in this video, but I will. Let me know if you want to see that. And so here you can see this is the old garden without any defined pathways. It was beautiful. It was productive for a long time, yes, but we're going a different route. And so here is the new garden, and it literally feels like our real estate has doubled. When I'm looking at the size of these beds, it's like, wow, we have got so much space to plant. I'm so excited for the springtime. And this is going to allow us to utilize the drip irrigation. And so you will see the video. Let me know if you want to see a video on how I set up the drip irrigation. Let me know in the comments. Let me know anything additional that you want to see about this. But here's the key, guys. You want to make sure that you keep that soil covered. No way was I going to allow that stuff to be exposed to the elements all season long. That's rule number 1. Always keep the soil covered. And so we're using some beautiful red maple leaves. And here's some straw because we already planted the garlic. And you can see it's just in time because winter is actually arriving. And we do not want to leave it like that. And so just in time for the winter. And so those beds are nice and tucked in. They are going to be ready for the springtime, which is actually now just about to be upon us. We're utilizing the sauna tent all winter. So here's the system, guys, and you will see this is how we are going to have massive success this year. So stay tuned. So there you go, my friends. Let me know what you think. We're excited for the upcoming growing season. Cannot wait to get it growing. Be right here every Saturday, 12 noon Eastern time for the live Q&A. And I urge you all to learn to make the aerated compost tea in this video right here.